In this video, I'm going to review how to find the vertex, but specifically using the TI-Nspire graphing calculator. And this will work for all the Nspire calculators. Okay, so here's our one. If we wanted to find the vertex, this is our normal equation, our normal formula, I should say, that will help us find the vertex. So we could do that, use that calculation, find it by hand, and that would work. That would give you the vertex of 1, 5 for this one, and this one is 3, -1. Okay, so we can do those by hand, but our calculator will also calculate this for us. So let me bring in the calculator. This is the TI-Nspire. So let's move it over just a little bit so we can kind of see it just a little bit. I'm going to focus on this first one first. What we want to do, this is the home page. This is the one that I clicked in red. That's our home page. And we want to bring up a graph. So from here, we can just click on this graph right here. You can use this button. It really doesn't matter which one you use. I'll click on the graph. This brings up my graph. And it says f1 of x. So over here, we're not going to write y equals. This is where we're entering this, -3x squared plus 6x plus 2. I'm going to enter that in right here. So I'm going to go right here, and this is our -3x squared. Your squared button is right here. It's the one I have in red. And then we're going to go plus 6x plus 6. Remember, all of your variables are down here on the bottom. 6x plus 2. When you're done with that, you're going to hit enter. You get this graph, and this is a frowny face. We knew that because our a value, this value here in front of the x squared, is negative. So negative turns into this frowny face. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to move it down here a little bit. That way it's not in our way. So I'm looking for the vertex, and the vertex is either the highest point on the graph, which it is on this one, or the lowest point. This one is a frowny face. We're looking for this point basically right around here, the highest point. So the way that we'll find that is we go into our menu button, which is right here, menu, analyze graph. Now, we're looking for either maximum or minimum. Let's go back to the graph here. So let's hit escape. There we go. This one, I'm looking for the maximum point on this graph, okay? So go back into menu, analyze graph, maximum. All right, now, you notice how I've got my cursor here with this little finger or this little hand pointing, and as I move it, I've got those dotted lines. Well, it's asking right down here, it's asking for my lower bound. That means if you kind of think of your x-axis here, which one's on the left-hand side. So here's my vertex somewhere around here. I just need to make sure I'm on the left-hand side of that one. Anywhere in there is fine. Just click it once. Then it will ask for the upper bound. You're just going to move it over. Look at how that traces. As soon as it finds the maximum, it stops. So right here, it says 1, 5, and that remains there. No matter how far out I come over here, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to click it again. That'll stop it there. So this is my maximum point right here, and I can kind of move this around just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But 1, 5 is my vertex, and that's what we knew. We found that out over here. So let's do the other one now. Let's see if I can bring this down just enough that I can get this in. Okay, so now I'm going to go back here, and what you can do is to go back to that, you just hit tab. Now notice how this one says F2. The other one said F1, and I want to get rid of F1. I don't want this one on there anymore. So in order to get back to F1, we just use our up arrow. Okay, here is our first one that we just did. I'm going to clear that one out. Control, delete, gives me clear. That clears the whole thing out. Now I'm just going to type this one in. So I've got my x, and it's barely here on the screen, but that's okay. X squared minus 6x plus 8. I hit enter, and now this gives me a new graph. Notice this one here. We'll move it over just a little bit. This one has a positive value in front of the x squared. That's why it's a smiley face. Positive people smile a lot. That's why I remember it. So if this one's positive, it's a smiley face. Previously, we had a negative. Negative people frown a lot, so that's my frowny face. That's how I remember it anyway. Okay, so we need to find the vertex on this one. Now, we've done it by hand here, and it tells us it's going to be 3, -1. All right, so again, I'm going to go back in here to Menu, Analyze Graph. Now, this one, let's go Escape here. This one, I'm no longer going to look for the maximum point. The vertex on this one is going to be the very, very lowest point. It's going to be right here. I'm just going to move this guy off to the side here. So I'm looking for the minimum this time. So I'll go Menu, Analyze Graph, and I want minimum. going to click on that. It still says lower bound. This is the left-hand side. And it doesn't really matter. Last time I did it fairly close over here. This time I'm going to do it way over here, just to show you that it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to click there once. As I drag it across, it automatically looks for this minimum point. So you can see this point right here going down and down and down until it finds the minimum, the absolute minimum, and then it'll stop. And there it stopped. So our minimum point in that case is 3, -1. We knew that over here, but using our TI-Nspire, it makes it a lot easier to do this one. So again, it's found. You're going to graph it, then you're just going to hit Menu, Analyze Graph, and you're either going to have a maximum or a minimum depending on what type of graph it is.